policing and social media. I chose this topic because this is something that I would ultimately want to do in helping police organizations utilize social media to its fullest extent and realize that it could probably help, um, fix some of the image issues that police departments have faced in the past few years. So that is why I chose this topic. For the agenda, we'll go over our goals, what social media is, why social media, framing for news, framing of responsibilities, and framing of attributes. Those three I chose from the research because I feel like those are the ways that police departments can truly utilize this these platforms for their good. What's working? Looking at a police department that has been doing so well and getting such a great response on social media, and why not to avoid this change, this shift? Um, I believe that there are some that just, I don't want to say are avoiding it, but there are some that just don't, kind of living under a rock, not realizing the magnitude of how it can help. Transparency, leadership, and then our key takeaways and the references to the research that was conducted and gathered for this presentation. So the goal is to build and maintain a strong social media presence that will translate to stronger, healthier working relationships with the community. There is public relations theory to support the need to evolve, and there are things that you can do to improve the effectiveness of your message in a crisis as well as in feature stories. So, what is social media? Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest can be used if you do it right. Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, and Snapchat. So those are really the ones that are still being used, but for these organizations specifically, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even YouTube, and even Snapchat can be used. Pinterest and Tumblr are more specialized. If you have an amazing writer that is a police officer, of course use Tumblr. If you have an amazing photographer who is a police officer, Pinterest could be cool. Or just a police officer who maybe specializes in home decor. Excuse me, in home decor. Pinterest can be used for as well by that officer if you just want to show a different side. But we'll get to framing of different sides of a police officer in a second. So that's what social media is, but it's defined as websites and applications that enable users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. And this is just a Google search. What is social media? But I found Urban Dictionary's defining of social media or describing of social media interesting. Facebook, I like donuts. That would be something someone would post on Facebook. Twitter, I'm eating #donuts. Instagram, here is a Polaroid-esque photo of donuts. Foursquare, this is where I eat donuts. I didn't mention Foursquare, but YouTube, here I am eating donuts. So that kind of explained a little bit of how social media is used. Different messages for different platforms, and they can all be used by police departments. So the why. Understand Media says that over the years, a select few highly publicized events have affected the community's view of police officers. Smartphones, no brainer. They've given the community a way to document their point of view. And I specify document their point of view is because just like your eyes, just like a camera lens, it is a point of view. And that is one focus of around using social media for a police department is showing point of views, different ones. And Understand Media also talks about the growing trend of viral negative images of policemen and women on social media. They say that there is little to no effect on how minorities perceive law enforcement in general. But the article went on to say that overly positive portrayals of law enforcement actually hinder the media influence on the minorities' viewpoint of law enforcement, but they go more off of their experiences firsthand. So, because those are two different things or two different views, the truth is often different than what is shown in the media. So, you got to get the truth, document it a little bit more. And that's just a way to do that, because you can't strong arm a journalist and make them tell your story. You have to tell your story in a way that people will understand it through social media. So framing. It's like a frame, a picture frame. What do you want people to see? Yes. If you take a picture frame off, there might be like a border around that's behind the frame. But that's the point. The frame is showing exactly what you want to see. There's so much outside of this square that you can't see because you're focused in your framing. So the framing of attributes, characteristics, and objectives that people want accentuated rather than ignored. News media reports use familiar, culturally resonating themes to relay information about events. Responsibility, acceptance or denial, or being responsible for events. And this has particular implications for public relations. There's a lot of different viewpoints of responsibility and the framing of responsibility. Individuals tend to attribute the cause of events to either internal or external factors based on the level of stability and control. So, as police officers, you know that there's a lot of work that is behind the scenes, and it has to be seen that it is a stable situation and the control has stayed where it's supposed to. Framing of attributes. The goal is for people to see the great attributes. The key publics will respond in a desired way to buy, invest, donate, or vote. But ultimately, this public, we just want them to buy into the support and trust in the police department. With news, not all sources are necessarily going to frame the story the right way. So, using social media, you can frame it the way that you would like it to be framed. With social media and PR representation, we can engage in the community. We have to do what we can to keep inaccurate messages outside of the frame. And as leaders, you know when you have to take responsibility, and through social media, you can take responsibility in a bigger way so that more people see that message as soon as possible. And then you use these platforms to enhance your reputation as an organization, and call attention to good things you do outside of the things you see on the news and all that kind of stuff. So what's working? The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office in Jacksonville, Florida, they use social media so frequently. And this is something I was mentioning before about showing them, the good things, the things that warm people's hearts. But then also use it to solve crimes, which is what people expect police officers to do anyway. So these are just two examples of how you could use them, frame your message, and to, I guess, get the job done. Why you shouldn't avoid it. Excuse me. You can disseminate information so much quicker. This was a situation here in Tennessee, Charleston, Tennessee, which is about north of Chattanooga, up towards Knoxville. The police department just started tweeting. They started tweeting, telling the media where to go, acknowledging what was happening so that the people in the community knew what was going on in their community, why there were so many police cars. And it works. It works. It gets the information out quickly. It wasn't, oh man, I gotta type up a press release, or I need to call these reporters and let them know. No, we saw the tweets, we got there. Transparency. You have to define what transparency will look like before you tweet or post anything. For a police department, that is different because you can't be transparent in some areas and you can be transparent in others. So you have to know what the investigators are okay with being released and what is necessary for the community to know. Moleda, a researcher, says that the power to create and consolidate authenticity of claims of media products does not only reside in the encoders and creators, but in the decoders and interpreters. So you got to find out what that transparency looks like to the decoders and the interpreters. So having those conversations on the social media platforms is a way that you can do that. You can also show a sense of authenticity through what you all do on a daily basis. Rollins, another writer from the research that was done, transparency fulfills its moral responsibility when it holds an organization accountable, when it provides enough information for stakeholders to make rational decisions. You have to decide what your definition of transparency is. Another definition, the deliberate attempt to make available all legally releasable information, whether positive or negative in nature, in a manner that is accurate, timely, balanced, and unequivocal for the purpose of enhancing the reasoning ability of publics and holding organizations accountable for their actions, policies, and practices. So your transparency, it needs to, cross all the T's and dot all the I's to make sure that it is what your organization wants the message to be. And the key takeaways: implementing ways to connect with community about how it will impact relationships, transparency, and authenticity of this department. You can do it. It is doable. It is something that a lot of departments are doing already, and it'll help you paint a clearer picture of the work you do by framing the message that you want to portray. You have the keys to type those messages and make an impact with so many different generations through your cell phone. So social media is just definitely something that is taking police work to another level. Used to solve crimes, used to disengage with community, show them a different side of the badge that they don't see, a side of the badge that they don't see on TV, a side of the badge that they don't see just in their day-to-day. So it's just a way to truly connect with the